I want to tell you something I have never fully broken down on camera before. For almost 2 years, I was eating everything in sight. Rice, pasta, bread, pretty much everything. Peanut butter, I didn't care. If there was something on the table, I was eating it. And honestly, I was tracking my calories and tracking 4,000 calories a day consistently. I was going to the gym, but I was still skinny. Not a little skinny, I was very skinny. Embarrassingly skinny. I came to the country when I was around 15 years old from Dominican Republic, and I weighed 100 pounds. I've told you this before, but what I haven't told you is that I was not lazy. I was not skipping meals. I was not missing workouts. I was doing everything I needed to do, or that I thought that I needed to do, but nothing was working. And nobody around me knew how to tell me why. It was not until I started studying molecular biology and actually reading research that I understood what was happening inside of my body. And when I fixed this, I went from 100 pounds to 180 pounds in a matter of 1.5 to 2 years. And it was at a regular Planet Fitness. No steroids, no expensive supplements, although I did go to the gym that was available in my college at times. But today I'm going to tell you exactly what I was doing wrong and what science says about what I was doing wrong and what's actually gonna work. And I'm gonna tell you what I actually changed that made everything click. If you're eating and training and still not growing, this video is made specifically for you. All right, so let me paint you a picture so you understand where I'm coming from. I grew up in the Dominican Republic where food was amazing. I mean, rice, beans, chicken, plantains, vegetables. I mean, if you know about Dominican food, you know we'd be cooking. It wasn't perfect by any optimization standards, but it was whole, natural ingredients. It was cooked from scratch every day. My mom is a great cook, and my body was used to that. But then I moved to the US at around 15, and the food environment was a little bit different, and it was hard to adjust to what it is here. Honestly, it wasn't what I experienced. Everything was cheaper, faster, a little more processed, and I was in school every day, so I didn't have time to go back home and get a nice meal from my mom. I had to eat whatever was offered at school. We were really poor. We lived in basically a closet in a bunk bed, my sister, my mom, and I. And I was 100 pounds. I hated being small. I felt invisible. People didn't even look at me. And honestly, I wasn't used to that. I'm an extrovert. And in the DR, I had lots of friends. I was very social. And I didn't really care about the way I looked. But then I made a decision that I was gonna change my body no matter what it took. So I did what every skinny guy does. I went on the internet and then I looked up everything that I could find. Please find me something that is going to change my body. That's what I found. Eat more, eat everything, hit your calories, all of that. And that's what I did. I was eating until I felt sick, even if I had to, until I vomited. So I ate rice, pasta, bread, everything, peanut butter by the spoonful. It was crazy. I remember chugging half a gallon every day. I was putting myself trying to make my body grow into pain and suffering. And my body just did not respond the way that I was expecting, I was gaining some weight slowly, but I looked soft, not muscular. I was tired all the time. My energy wasn't consistent and my workouts fell flat. I did not look like I was eating 4,000 calories at all. I looked like I was surviving on them, to be honest. And I remember standing in front of the mirror after around 2 years and genuinely asking myself if my genetics were not built for this. I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm 100 pounds, I'm 106 pounds at that point, and I haven't done pretty much nothing. I'm eating everything I find until I vomit, and it just wasn't working. I thought I just meant to be skinny. My metabolism was fast, and that was the excuse I was giving everybody, and I was giving myself. But I was wrong, and I needed science to show me why. All right, so I'm gonna tell you exactly what happened and why, utilizing science, I went from 100 to 180 pounds. So basically, molecular biology revealed a hidden truth for me, and this is my realization, and this is the story I tell everybody because it really did change my life. Originally, in the DR, the foods that I was eating were whole, right? It wasn't that processed, and it wasn't that in America you don't have whole foods, but I actually needed to go to college, and for me to get to college, I was staying in school until 7 p.m. in high school. So I was eating McDonald's every meal, peanut butter sandwiches that they used to give in school. It just wasn't good. And this is what I didn't understand. When you're trying to build muscle, if you're not eating enough protein, it's like trying to build a building without a lumber and also without the material. For those who work construction, I've done every single job that you can imagine. I'm an immigrant. The problem is that protein actually divides into amino acids, which is basically, if you have a big block, which is a protein, then dividing it into small pieces, that's pretty much amino acids. And that's the molecule that we use. And one of these amino acids is called leucine, which is the most important one that has to do with muscle building. We don't need to talk about that right now. I've talked about it in other videos, but there's other amino acids that are important for this, but leucine is the main one that we use. It goes through a pathway that is called the mTOR signaling pathway to build muscle. So if I was not eating enough protein, I would never build muscle just because I didn't have the material to do it. If I didn't have the leucine, it wouldn't start this pathway, and if this pathway doesn't start, my muscle is not going to be built. It was as simple as that. It's called the muscle protein synthesis. If you do not have protein, synthesis is not gonna happen. And this is the other issue that was happening with me. I was eating the calories, but I wasn't eating quality calories. So let me explain. It doesn't matter what kind of calories it is. Pasta, rice, beans, it doesn't really matter. You're going to gain weight, but you're not going to be able to gain that weight off of muscle if you do not eat the right protein. The problem is that some of the proteins that we find in nature are similar to the protein profile that our muscles have. So those micronutrients those macronutrients that we need to build that muscle, usually when that protein comes from an animal, we're able to use it easier. So when I started to eat whole dairy and red meat and chicken and fish, I started to notice a change completely because I was actually giving my body something that it was used to, something that it was familiar with, which was basically the kind of protein that our muscles have. All right, so the next thing that I didn't know was that I couldn't cut every single carb. After I learned about protein, I started just eating protein. And what I didn't know that I understood later because of bio, I love bio, it was that we actually need some sugars to make this transition. What happens is that insulin is one of the markers that's going to make this process started. If you eat only your protein, you're not gonna get those results that you need. The next thing was that those carbs that I was eating were not the right carbs for the job. Refined carbs like rice and bread, they're going to spike your insulin without supporting your protein. If you use the right amount of carbs and you structure every meal around protein first to leverage the insulin response, you're going to let your carbohydrates play a supporting role rather than starting one, which is gonna make the process even easier when it comes to actually building muscle. The next thing I did was not eating enough fat. What I didn't understand was, at that point, that fat was actually my friend, if you use fat right. If you're really low on fat, you're not gonna be able to build testosterone. Fat makes testosterone. What our body uses to actually build testosterone is essentially fat. So if you don't eat enough fat, you're not going to be able to construct your testosterone that's ultimately gonna help you build your muscle and eventually grow you into a bigger person. Now, it is important that I tell you this, not all fat is built equally. So make sure that you're eating healthy fats, avocados, meats, red meat, all of that. Just look quality fats online and you're going to be able to list the foods that you can eat. Yolk, red meat, stabilize your energy, stabilize your hormones, and not kill you off of a heart attack, which is what we're not trying to do. All right, the next thing I didn't know was that I needed to be able to put everything together. This is very important because hitting one thing is not gonna get you there. You have to take this 5-step blueprint for growth. And I put it into a blueprint so it's easier for you to understand and you can apply for your life too. The first thing you have to do is calculate your protein target. I wanted to be 180 pounds. So in order for me to actually get there, I was eating 180 grams of protein every single day. Second thing is build around animal protein. If you can, please take into account your dietary restrictions. If you're a vegetarian, it's okay. You're just gonna have to work a little harder and be a little smarter about the way you do it to hit those micronutrients and macronutrients. But if you eat eggs, red meat, fish, whole dairy, this is going to help you build your body even faster. Number 3, you're gonna add quality fats. With those quality fats, you're gonna build testosterone. Testosterone is gonna help you get those muscles. Drink whole milk. This was extremely important for me. Whole milk, if you can't drink milk, it's totally okay. Butter, beef tallow, all these things help. The fourth thing is support your carbohydrates. Rice, potatoes, these are fine carbohydrates. These are quality carbohydrates. If you do not eat too many processed foods per week, you're going to see your results even faster because your insulin is not gonna spike as fast. Now remember, you're not gonna be obsessive over it because this is just gonna lead you to failure. But what you're going to do is aim to go 100%. If you go 80%, you did better than most people, and you definitely did better than you did yourself yesterday. And number 5 is the most important one, maintain consistency. If you eat 5,000 calories in one day, and then the next day you go back to eating 1,000, throughout the week it's going to make up for it. You're not gonna be able to achieve the body that you want and your goals. So what you're gonna do is try and reach a reasonable amount every single day. increase yourself 1% every day. In just 3 months, you're going to get pretty much a 180 because it's 90% of the way there. 100 days, 100%. Your body is going to build with surplus over time. Give that surplus its time every single day you work, and you're going to succeed without fail. Last thing you have to understand is it's not genetics, it's your information. Identify what is your bottleneck and attack it. Break the dopamine baseline. You need to make sure that you build habits to do not put dopamine first and put yourself first. You have to prepare for the stress. You're going to be stressed. You're going to get a cortisol spike, meaning that it's going to suck, but you have to push through it. Prepare for that. Next, design your environment. If you're around people who always eat fast food, you're going to eat fast food yourself. You need to stop buying those snacks, do not put them at home, and make sure that you have quality foods near you so you make the decision to eat good food easier so you make it more often. And number 5, stock small wins. Small wins matter more than you think. Please, consistency is important. Celebrate those small wins because if you stay consistent and you stay hungry, you're closer than you think. All right, so that's pretty much it. That's what I did, and it grew me from 100 pounds to 180 pounds. If you want to know what your weakest link is, you can take a quiz that I made myself. You can see the link down below. In the meantime, please subscribe and consider watching the next video. It's probably going to be helpful for you if you like this one. Share the knowledge, share it with a friend, and I hope you have a wonderful day, my friend.